that's how I met the man on the train. This is where the story changes for the better, because that business also didn't work, right? Professional failure here, right? But I met the man on the train. I decided in my wisdom, because of my background, that I would build a coffee shop franchise. It was the most obvious thing to do. And I'm on the train one day, because I don't really like driving, and taking the train from Limerick to Dublin, getting off at Houston Station. And I met this guy. And the two of us, as it happens, were working away. I can't even remember, there were laptops. This is back in 2003. Working away, doing our own thing, whatever. And eventually we started chatting. And at one point we swapped business cards, as you do, although tonight we're all fancy now with our LinkedIn, who's near me, right? But back in the day we swapped business cards, and I had a strapline on my business card. That's my day job, by the way, of the school meals business today, which, by the way, hasn't failed. Third time lucky so far. Anyway, right, so Carambola, that's my Carambola business card. But on the back of my Cruises Coffee Company business card at the time was this strapline. See the little strapline in the speech bubble? How can I help? See, a man gets this card off me, complete stranger, right? And he says to me, what does that mean? And I said, that's my offer to the universe. If I can be of help in any way, if you think I can, pick up the phone. If I can help you, I will. If I can't, I can't. Simple as. And he never rang me, right? He said, that's very interesting, pocketed my business card, and I never heard from him. Never even thought of it again, to be honest. However, 3 months later, his boss rang me. Your man went, wait to hear this, your man went to Dublin that day on the same train I was on. We met for a couple of hours, spoke for a couple of minutes, bumped into each other, never saw each other again. He goes back to Limerick that evening, gives my card because of the strapline, how can I help, to his boss. And his boss was in a social inclusion group called Paul Partnership in Limerick. And he says to his boss, if you're ever doing anything in food, give this guy O'Brien a call. He's an interesting character. 3 months later, the boss rings me and says, would you like to tender for a school meals pilot project here in Moyross in Limerick? And I'm thinking, yes, thank you very much. My business is dying, right? I didn't tell him that, of course. Yes, we'd love to. I think it was a sort of cool, yeah, we'd probably consider something like that. Anyway, he comes down, we have a cup of coffee, we win the tender. Right? Day one, that was 2003. Day one, we supplied 27 lunches, about this many, right? Last day of term, just gone, 37. So, was that a good meeting? Was that a good meeting? You can chalk it down. One of my favourite Limerickisms, you can chalk it down. That was a great meeting, right? And the great news is there's one for everybody in the audience. No, don't be laughing. This is true. This is absolutely serious. This is the type of stuff we've been talking about, right? We gotta start telling ourselves what's true, and this stuff is true. There is a man on the train moment out there in the universe with your name on it. At least one. Promise you that, guarantee you that. 2 criteria must apply, or you're going to miss it. First one is you must be out there doing your thing. You must turn up. Preaching to the choir here this evening because you're all here. All right, yeah? The only people who can't benefit from this evening, from some interaction this evening, are the people who chose not to make it. Is that fair enough, yeah? But it's not just this evening. You've got to be out there doing your thing all the time. Not 24/7. I'm not into working 24/7 for anybody, not even for myself, right? It's not, it's about balance, right? But when you're out there doing your thing, go out there to do your thing and go out to do it with integrity. Is it possible, think about this for a second, that man on the train would have ever found my home in Duradoyle, knocked on the window and said, sorry to disturb Coronation Street? Could that? Okay, so I wouldn't be standing here this evening except for I was out there. Second criterion, really important, hugely important. You got to be out there to be of service first. My business card, my business was dying. I didn't say, buddy, can you buy coffee off me, help a fella out? Can we make sandwiches for you, right? Gave my business card, no strings attached, and said, how can I help? And that's what changed my fortunes. And it's been on every business card since. So, that is the story of the man on the train. Changed my life forever. Changed my life forever.